after it?
Yes.
Did we ever? Did we remember? I was always talking about the note, the name. What did we ever say about Rabbi Rabbi? What's four about the note, or four like a diamond makes a shape?
Four-sided.
Four-sided.
It's number one. It's four-sided. Number two, the way that you intone it is downward steps.
Almost four.
So,
and yours sounds like Broadway.
And
yeah, but I meant like okay, those are two reasons, but like the way we said that the two reference, on a katon is multiple. So maybe did we ever discuss that four is multiple 4 times or something like that? No.
No, but again, but
every time it would be a Rabbi would be 4 things about it.
No, I don't think that necessarily applies, other than to the note itself.
Yeah, the sound.
I'm just thinking whether it's talking about that there's Reva space is spelled differently. Yeah, Revach is spelled differently, so it's not. I don't think that applies. Okay. Barishon on the first with the Parshat, number 5, we're on page 58. Noach. It was on the first month when the new chronology had begun, as suggested by the upper directional shape of the reading mark.
Wait, on the first month, and we said, wait a minute, this is before the Jewish people, really. So the first month here, by the Goy, is Tishrei.
Well, but I think what Jeff was saying is the new chronology because it's Shnat HaMelech, right?
So when is the New Year for King?
This is the first.
Is that Elul? Rosh Hashanah, you know what I mean?
Nisan, I think, is for King. But
Tishrei is for the Goy. That's
And here Dad
Nisan is the first month for us.
Dad said it was Tishrei.
This is Tishrei, definitely,
because it's like a recreation.
But you'll see the next pasuk we definitely say that the land dried out b'chodesh hashini. So we're talking Tishrei,
which is good because that's what good. Yeah. So that's good because Tishrei is for the Goyim. Nisan is the Jewish New Year.
Mm-hmm. And again, for the world, so it makes sense.
The B'nai Noach, right? Doesn't it? Yeah.
Yes, the B'nai Noach.
Even the Parshat is all Tishrei.
Literally.
Right. Well, I know, no pun intended. And Bereshit, which was last week's Parshat, was Aleph Beit Tishrei, but now Tishrei Cheshvan.
Be'echad on one, with the zakef, with the munach. So this is going to separate it out from what comes before. And then we're on the phrase number 6. Be'echad.
It's on a different page, that's right.
Yeah, so you have to keep on flipping your pages back and forth.
I don't like that.
Since it also occurred on one day of the new lunar mutation, it corresponded with the original beginning, Be'achad Tishrei, Bereshit. And by the way, there's another permutation of Bereshit, Be'aleph Tishrei. So that's another taking the letters and spinning them around. So we're separating out from the things that come before and looking forward, because we're saying this is our new beginning. It's starting with a letter beit. It's looking forward to what's going to go on. So we have all sorts of phrases in this sentence that are announcing that there's a new beginning. Vayhi. Here's our announcement. Be'achat, on one, starting again with the letter beit. B'shesh meot, referencing it back to Noach. Shana, that it's a new Shnat HaMelech, that it's a new year for the one who's in charge of the world. Barishon, again with a beginning, referencing first, the beginning with the letter beit. Be'achad, on the first, on day number 1, again starting with the letter beit. So we're referencing a new creation here over and over and over again with different phraseology, but each time emphasizing that it's a new creation and it needs to be heralded. La Chodesh, for the month, with a katon. So we know the katon is going to have more than one thought or more than one idea with it. It introduced a succession of other days counted for the month, as pointed out by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So when we know that there's going to be more than one thing, there's going to be more than one day in this month. It's going to keep on going on from here.
Also, La Chodesh is also La Chadash.
Oh, bigger father.
Charvu, they vanished, which is an interesting translation of charvu. Charev normally means to be destroyed, but vanished.
Why is Chorev is Mount Sinai? Why is that? What do they say?
Chorev.
Chorev. Why is that destruction? You think it's the opposite? I never liked that name for Sinai. Another name for Sinai.
I'll have to think of. Charvu. At that time, the signs of the flood were markedly decreasing until they vanished completely.
What vanished? What vanished? What vanished?
So he's saying the signs of the flood, but it specifically says Hamayim, the next word. So this is
not dried up.
This is a mercha, so it's going to continue the thought that was coming from before, but mostly focus us forward. So all of these beginnings, now we're saying the other things that have ended, charvu. So with all of these beginnings, we got rid of Hamayim, the waters, tipcha, referencing us back to what happened before, separating out from what's going to come afterwards. Number 9, the waters were disappearing rapidly until they were completely gone, as specified by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So because Hamayim finishes off the phrase and has a pause after it, this is the end for the water. There's no more water. There's no more of the flood-induced waters after this point. Me'al. So this
water's acting as a destructive force because there's water still.
Yeah, but it's flooding.
But this is not charvu mayim. It didn't. We didn't make water vanish. Ha mayim, the waters. Direct, a definite article. We're saying these are the waters that are associated with the flood.
They know it.
These are May Noach. Yes. Me'al, from over, with a munach. So this is going to separate us out from what had come before and focus us on moving forward from that point in with a clear break. Number 10. Although minor collections of water basins were still visible from over the surface, subsequently they shrunk in size and lost their continuity, as illustrated by the shape of the reading mark. So what he is trying to convey here is the disconnect between any bits of water that were there from that point on.
It's because of the Menach, because of the...
But I don't understand why he's still referencing the fact that there are floodwaters there when after Hamayim we sort of said that they had all gone. So I think what we have to say is the Hamayim that finishes the thought is water with destructive intent, and Me'al is water that's going to remain, that's no longer going to have destructive intent, which is going to be separate from the water that was there before that did in fact do damage. So the water that's going to continue is not going to be damaging water. It's going to be separate from the purpose that the water was serving before.
Perhaps you can differentiate from this streaming water, which by virtue of motion causes damage, versus the collections of water now. They're not moving anywhere, but they themselves are shrunk back to where they were. Like lakes.
Or it's lost its coherence and its ability to do destruction, because before it was coherent in acting with purpose, and now it's no longer acting with purpose. Haaretz.
In other words, don't freak out every time you see water. It can just be, sometimes water is just water. Not remarking, okay,
sorry, what was film reference?
No, it's not a film reference.
Okay.
More of a psychoanalytic reference. Sometimes with everything's a penis and with Freud. Sometimes a pipe is just a pipe. Is that what it is?
The earth. Ha'aretz, number 11. Within it nachta. So this is going to be a stabilizing influence. The earth between those, quote, lakes became increasingly visible, preparing the place for new life and development as conveyed by the stabilizing shape of the reading mark. So the land now becomes a point of stability, a point of future hope and future growth, and certainly something that could now be depended upon again. Vayasar, with a mapach, so this is going to take everything that's come from before and focus us onto what's going to go afterwards.
Pictorially, it also looks like, visually it looks like you're opening up the lid. Like the mapach itself looks like you're opening the lid.
Number 12, in view of the progressive changes, Noach saw that certain details and facilities of the ark became obsolete, and he removed them as the situation permitted, as demonstrated by the shape of the reading mark. So, agreed. He's anthropomorphizing the shape and telling us that the shape looks like he's taking these parts off, but more poignantly to the shape of the mark, it's saying that the things that came from before that were necessary as part of the ark are now going to be more focused to their future purpose, and if it doesn't have a purpose anymore, then it doesn't need to be there. Noach, with the pashta, so this is a note that is going to slightly emphasize the word and move us forward into what's going to come after it. Noach had realized that after his attempts to preserve the life of the species, the time had arrived to consider support and function by helping to retain their adequate health and habits. Am I reading the wrong?
No.
No, as depicted by the double directional shape of the reading mark.
Where's the double? Oh, but
That's the question. Could I borrow the chumash for a second? We'll see if there's, in fact, two.
that would sound like a Gershon or
To
something.
the left. I'm gonna have to know. Please go ahead. Do me a favor.
Yes. So, in the Chumash, and he doesn't have it reprinted here, is the word Noach, in fact, has two pashtas on it. So there should be a pashta on top of the nun, another pashta on top of the chet. So if we want to draw that in for ourselves, there should be another pashta on top of nun. So in fact, we have a two. It didn't come out in the printing here. So Sue, if you want to correct the text, the word Noach, in fact, has
And you're
two
not being
pashtot
over on
on.
Baltosi. You're not being over on Baltosi.
So we checked the other chumash, and in fact that is what he's referencing. The fact that we're looking at something that is double, both the functions that the teva had before and the functions that it's going to have afterwards. Et michse, with cover. This has a zakef, a munach. So the munach is going to separate us out from what had happened before and move us forward to what's going to go after it. Seeing the essential purpose of the ark completed. So again, we're separating out from what the ark was doing before. Noach started the last stage of his program with cover of the box totally dismantled, not only opening a window like we said previously that there was a window, now the entire top is off. He started his rescue campaign from supplying fresh air, not worrying about any minor precipitation as signified by the directional shape of the reading mark. So now we're going to look forward from here on. We're going to use the cover for a future purpose and no longer rely on it to, in fact, be a cover. So it's no longer a cover. It's just raw material now. Hateva, of the box, with a katon. So this is going to have a two-part meaning or more. The function of the box for saving the life of the inmates became obsolete, and instead of relief, it began to present a menace to its occupants, as emphasized by the bipartite shape of the reading mark. So now, all of a sudden, when there's more places to go, the ark becomes confining. So before it was helpful, now it's becoming a hindrance because there are many more opportunities. So we see the ark before and after emphasized by the katon.
Like the placenta.
Vayar, and he noticed, with a zakef katon. So this is a three-part note. At that time, Noach had the first opportunity to view the surroundings directly, and he noticed the deep change of the ground and the remains of the previous civilization as portrayed by the shape of the reading mark. So this is going to say, when he looked and he saw lots of things.
What's the note on Bayard?
Zakef Gadol.
Right, that's what I thought.
So he's going to emphasize the word. He's going to see with emphasis. He's going to see that, wow, there are lots of things that weren't, that are different. That the features of the land are different. The civilization that was there before is gone. The people that were there are gone. So we've got multiple things that have changed compared to what it. So his seeing is of not just a single thing. He's not just looking at the fact that there's no more water. He's seeing multiple objects and multiple items and understanding their significance, and that's why we have this note with multiple parts to it. Vihine.
Can we join Bayard? Oh no, this nothing
No.
joins. Okay, because Hine is
Bayard.
surprised. Like, oh, okay.
So
Well, maybe
Vihine with a mercha does slightly join backwards to what's come from before, but mostly focuses it forward. So it's not a clean break. A mercha is not like a munach that's a clean break.
Mm-hmm.
A mercha is sort of a little bit connected, but really wanting to move the focus forward. Vihine, and readily, number 17.
So readily, that's not like what usually Hine is.
There was
surprised.
no sign of life, and readily everything was at a standstill, as manifested by the directional shape of the reading mark.
What does that
So
mean,
maybe
readily?
Vayehi actually did herald a new destruction, a scene of destruction, because he uses harav,
Yeah.
twice. That
But
the
it's a
Mayim
different-
was
yeah, but it's a different
charbu,
translation, right.
that the world, that the ground was charbu. There was like
Then it was Mayim
destruction.
was Karbu, and now it's Bnei Adamah.
Yeah. So everything was destroyed. Because
So
in the
That's
next
that more in keeping of the meaning of Cherev that we know, rather than vanished. Remember we were surprised that he vanished.
And in fact, the second time when we see the word charvu, number 18, he uses the translation of destroyed, not
Right,
vanished.
that's right. That's right. And Pnei
again-
Adamah, not Adamah itself, like things that stuck in
Okay,
the
so
ground.
let's see. Yeah, so let's stick to the translation. Vihine and readily. So this is going to move us forward into what's going to go on, and Hine, here it is. He's taking that as this is the snapshot. This is the beginning. This is the way that things are. Nothing has really gone and progressed from here yet. So he's saying that's why he uses the word standstill. Here it is. This is the snapshot of the beginning, and there's no agents of change that have been introduced into the terrain yet, because all of the agents of change, all of the animals and all of the people are on the ark still. Harvu were destroyed with the tipcha. So this is going to close off the thought and slightly pause from what's going to go after it. Not only living, but even inanimate existence and various material structures or features were destroyed by the general cataclysm, as expressed by the closing shape of the directional reading mark. So the destruction, the things that we looked back, included all things, included features of mountains, features of houses, features of things that civilization had built, and so on. Pnei, appearances of. Also, appearances of topographical configurations of the surface were radically altered beyond recognition, as symbolized by the directional shape of the reading mark. So, the face, the public appearance, the thing that you show to the rest of the world, looking forward, was different from the way that it was backwards. There was still some general connection, but really it was different, and it's going to be different from here on in. Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, I mentioned this before, but what do we conclude about when he says, because he's very exact, obviously. So when he says the directional shape of the reading mark,
Yep.
and shape, sometimes he says shape of the reading mark, and sometimes he says directional shape of the reading mark.
Right.
Is that significant?
So a note like a revi'i, or a katon, or a zakef katon, or a gershaim, well, not a gershaim, but a zakef katon, all of these are notes that don't have a direction.
Right, as opposed to
mercha, tibcha, tlisha gdola, tlisha ktana, yativ. All of these will focus us in a direction, where some of them
we can sort
don't.
of join words.
They tell us it might be joining, or it might be concluding, it might be looking forward or looking back, where some things isolate the word. So revi'i, zakef gadol, are going to isolate your word.
They're not directional.
They're not directional. They're
Yeah.
saying, we're here. We're looking at this. Don't bother with what was
isolation.
before, what was after.
So, because the hardest part for me in this parish is that I can't connect words and just see
Right.
each word separate.
Right, but this is...
So
this
when he
is-
says directional, that's a little hope for me, right?
Okay,
I can't
because-
see that. I can't
because-
take words out of its context so much. I mean,
Mhm.
true, each word, but true, there's also a context.
Okay, but this is not a pshat. This is not a simple
What's not
translation.
pshat?
This
The
translation
flavors.
is not a pshat. So that's why we are able to take things out of context. Because if it was a pshat, we couldn't.
But he's still saying directional, though.
He's still saying directional because that's part of the drush here.
Okay.
Part of the drush here is that some things truly are connected
Right.
or are leading in,
Right.
but not on a word-by-word basis, but on a phrase-by-phrase, paragraph-by-paragraph basis.
Yeah, look, there's another one. He says broad meaning of the reading mark. That's another
Mhm.
kind. And cursive direction. Closing shape of it. There's all different. Bipartite shape. There's all these different ones.
Yeah.
I wish he was here.
So,
Here we got it all wrong. What a you.
one of the arguments that I've always presented to people who come up to me with the question, how can you believe that the world is 5,000 plus years old? We've got rocks that are 4 billion years old. How do you believe that? So part of it is to look at the story of Bereshit and to look specifically at the story of the flood and to say
That would.
we are seeing things that tell us that the nature of the universe has changed.
Right.
Everything that you assume from things like carbon dating
Right.
and from
Could throw up
decay and so on, assume that the processes of physics that we have now are uniform and are the same. So the penultimate, the most glaring example that I give people is the rainbow. So what do I tell them about the rainbow? After the flood, God said, I'm going to put a rainbow into the sky. What's a rainbow? A rainbow is light shines, it hits water, it refracts, it makes all the colors. So what? Before the flood there wasn't a rainbow? What do we learn? The nature of physics of the universe changed. Before the flood there was no rainbow. God changed the rules of physics. So all of a sudden you can have a world that's 5,000 plus years old. Because physics changed.
Well, we
And
see
here,
even the
Harvu-
lifespans. Everything changes. There were no seasons before. The world wasn't on an axis before.
Mhm.
It was
People
flat.
lived longer. What?
It was flat.
So Harvu Pnei Ha'adama, the appearances change. What do we say? That the features, the configuration of the ground is altered beyond recognition. The things that used to be before, the way that they were, the way that their connection was, literally the laws that made them part of what they were, isn't the same anymore. Can't count a year as a year. People are living 900,000 years, 1,000 years long. Something's different.
Oh, but right, that's what. And also the whole thing that when we say 5777, I mean you're not coming. It's just five. Tell me you don't know that other call from Long Island.
Later.
No, okay, but okay. No, but we say 577. We're not saying that's the age of the world. We're saying it's from Adam and Chava because dinosaurs don't have a Rolex. They don't keep time. So there's no contradiction really. We're not talking about the age of the world. And no human history, even the Chinese, it all comes out around 5,000, 6,000 years. So we're not that old. Everyone basically agrees on human history. Right? Why aren't you agreeing even?
Because I think you can find a lot of people who are
When they find that person,
a lot of people who are quite definite that this is the age of the world.
That this is the age of the
You can
world.
you can
Oh,
find a lot
what?
of.
That 5777 is
Yeah.
the age of the world?
Hmm.
You mean us? We say
Yeah.
that? No, we're saying it's from Adam and Chava, not the other 5 days.
Okay, and
6 days.
there are 6 days before that, and the
Not
question
days,
is
but what
the
does
question,
days mean? They
the
don't
question
change.
is how do you define a day? That's an argument. That's an argument that doesn't make people stop and think.
Well, there's
But
so
the
much-
changing laws of physics one does.
You get
So
a
again,
response more from that? Okay,
I get
so
much
whatever.
more of a response from that answer.
Not enough that they become the from, but okay.
no.
They just put in the burden.
The Yonah, it's within the Yonah of the raven.
Okay, but again, Pnei Hadama, so the appearance, the laws, the way that it faces, the way that it relates to everything else, that's what's changed. Not Charvu Hadama,
That's on
but
the
Pnei
ground.
Hadama, the way that it faces, the way that it looks out at other things. Ha'adama, number 20, the ground. This is with Sof Pasuk. Equally, the vegetation of the surface of the ground was changed and covered with a sediment of debris and a peculiar kind of soil. Thus, the total visible area looked like a different planet.
This post-apocalyptic scene. Can you imagine?
No.
But
It was
it
too
had,
much for him.
So-
but it had
Drunk
so
right
much,
away.
but it had so much potential now because you have all of that, fertile silt.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, the sediment.
So the question is, where are we deriving this from the note?
No. Okay.
Sof Pasuk.
The Pasuk of Hadama.
Sof Pasuk. There are two makafs. There are two focal points on this on the pronunciation of this word.
Those markups that you said, are they from the time of the people who did the Torah?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Part of it.
So
what does that tell you,
they
the
don't.
markups?
They tell you that
Okay.
that's a syllable that gets emphasis.
Expensive.
So it's not hadama. It's hadama. So you're going to give equal pronunciation to adama. You're going to give some value to the aleph and some value to the mem.
Wait, the markup.
So the makaf tells you there's one under the aleph.
Under
and
the
there's-
aleph?
Yeah.
No, it looks like it's under the,
What do you mean under? But the markup is the vertical one, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
So it's not under the aleph, it's beside the aleph.
Sorry, it's under the
Under the
hay.
hay.
It's under the hay.
It's under the hay.
Yeah.
It's under the head. Or it's
So-
Ma.
Or it's
Ha'adama.
divided between the hay and the aleph. That's how I see
Right,
it
so it
more.
makes sense because the aleph has a chataf patach,
Right.
so it's not going to get a full vowelization. So it'd be very unusual to have a makaf under a letter that's chatuf. So not chatuf, chatuf, but ha'adama. So
You're not pronouncing the aleph, right?
the aleph almost gets
Blurs, like,
it
gets
blurs
swallowed
because of the chataf almost takes away the pronunciation from it.
You want that?
But-
That's what it wants?
So that's why you need to give some pronunciation to the hay as well. Because otherwise, adama, you would
Because the aleph's not there.
you'd completely lose the aleph. But with ha-dama, you get something to the aleph.
Why